In this section, we will teach how to avoid being accused of sexual abuse or child molestation, how to prevent camper-on-camper abuse, reporting sexual abuse or molestation, and the need to minimize one-on-one isolated encounters between adults and minors or between two minors. Let's begin with how to avoid being accused of sexual abuse or child molestation. The following policies are primarily for the protection of campers. However, they also serve to protect adult counselors from false accusations of abuse. First, two-deep counselor supervision. No adult will be allowed to be alone with a camper in an isolated place. In situations that require personal conferences, the meeting is to be conducted in view of other adults. No child or teenager is to sit in the lap of an adult. No adult is to allow a child or teenager to sit in his or her lap or lie in his or her bed. The only exception would be the parent of a child. No frontal hugs. An adult from time to time may feel a child's need for a hug in order to support or comfort the child. The adult must use a shoulder-to-shoulder hug. Respect of privacy. Adults must respect the privacy of campers in situations such as changing clothes and taking showers. An adult would only intrude to the extent that the health and safety of the camper would be in question. In the case of safety, one adult may enter this space, but whenever possible, two adults should be present. Campers must also respect the privacy of the adults in these situations. Therefore, it is not permissible for campers or adults to move about in the housing area unclothed. Sleeping accommodations. Adults should sleep in an area where the highest level of supervision is possible and should not isolate themselves from general view. When wilderness camping, adults are prohibited from sleeping in pup-type tents with campers unless it is a parent and his or her child. Larger tent housing would require at least two adult counselors following the same procedures as regular camp housing. Appropriate attire. Adults will at all times be dressed modestly. Clothes such as swimsuits, shorts, and tops are not to be revealing or in any way draw attention to the breasts, buttocks, or genital area. Roughhousing or hazing is prohibited. An adult will not wrestle, tickle, or in any way engage a child or teenager in an activity where the adult's hands might come in contact with the breasts or genital area of the camper. The adult must be particularly careful about physical contact with the campers while in the swimming area. No counselor or camper is to participate in any kind of hazing or initiation activity. Please note, adult counselors must monitor each other, not to accuse, but to protect each other in the case of an allegation. Now let's look at how to prevent camper-on-camper abuse. Nationally, more than 1/3 of serious physical and sexual abuse incidents are youth on youth, and sadly, that number is increasing. Campers counselor assignment. Campers assigned to a counselor should be accounted for at all times. Campers in sleeping areas. Campers will not be permitted to be in the sleeping area of any camper of the opposite sex. Camper visibility. No camper will be allowed to be alone with another camper out of sight of an adult or other camper. Sleeping assignments. Campers are to sleep in his or her assigned bed. Campers are not to sleep together. Beds are not to be arranged in such a way as to make supervision by the counselor impossible. Adult supervision. Adults are to supervise all activities of the camper, both organized and unorganized. The camper is not allowed to enter into any bullying activities. Supervision during swim activities. Close supervision by adults during all swim activities is mandatory. Close attention should be paid to the activities of couples in the swim area. Older campers. Older campers who tend to spend a great deal of time with younger campers should be encouraged to engage in activities with their appropriate peer group. Reporting by a camper. When a camper reports a situation that makes him or her uncomfortable, the counselor must take action to protect the camper. Finally, let's talk in detail about reporting of sexual abuse and molestation while at camp. The person who has witnessed or who becomes aware of any form of abuse of a camper must report the abuse and inform the licensed youth camp operator as soon as possible. Counselors are not to investigate the allegation. Counselors are to report the information to the licensed youth camp operator as soon as possible. Reporting of camper-on-camper incidents. All incidents of inappropriate activity involving sexual matters, regardless of whether it is consensual or not, must be reported to the camp director and the licensed youth camp operator as soon as possible. What happens next may have different implications. Inappropriate consensual conduct should normally result in parental notification and may lead to removal from camp. However, non-consensual or abusive conduct must always be reported to the proper agencies. To be clear, if a person, including any member of the camp staff, a camp counselor, or camp director, has cause to believe that a minor has been or may have been abused or neglected, then that person shall immediately make a report to the licensed camp operator and to the proper state agencies. Remember, when a child or teenager confides in you, allow him or her to feel that you care, that you're listening, and will do whatever is necessary to be of help. It helps to sit at eye level, remain visible to others, but keep your conversation from being overheard by others. It is not your role to question or determine the facts, nor should you suggest that he or she was or was not abused. Let the student know how much you admire the courage and confidence it took to share with you what has happened. This concludes the Child Protection Training video. This training is an important part of camp preparation. It's vital for every adult at camp to be aware and be mindful so that we can provide safety and protection for our kids, students, churches, and for camp ministry. Your next step is to complete the accompanying training assessment and share the certificate of completion with your group leader or bring it to camp.